Herman Mashaba. He is the leader of Action SA, and we also have Mr. Velenkosini Hlabisa, the president of the Inkatha Freedom Party. Let's start in Gauteng. Mr. Mashaba, good morning to you. Your reaction to what is being labeled as a historic moment where the law has trumped all else in the country.
Absolutely, Dolly. Very sad day for our country, but I think as Action SA, we welcome the developments. I think our judiciary has given us confidence again. You can imagine all of us as people of South Africa, we were really beginning to lose hope with our entire criminal justice system, and we so really appreciative of the fact that our judiciary has brought hope to us. South Africa is savable, as much as we are aware that other arms of our law enforcement agencies are still captured. But I think what happened last night and the last few days has to really give us the determinations as South Africa to continue on this journey to free our country so that we can all enjoy being South Africans and enjoy the fruits of this constitution which was signed in 1996, and hope and appeal to the entire ANC to take personal, individual and collective responsibility for the mess that have actually caused for the country, because this matter is not just really about Jacob Zuma, it's about the entire ANC who supported Jacob Zuma compromising the reputation and the image of South Africa over many years.
Yeah, Mr. Hlabisa, let's come to you. KZN, as described by Dr. Snugi, the veteran of the ANC, saying that that province is tense at the moment and talking specifically about issues within the ANC. From what you know, and given the stature of the former president Jacob Zuma, would you agree with this sentiment that KZN is tense? But how are you reading the situation?
Good morning, Toli, as well as Mr. Mashaba and the viewers of Newzroom Afrika Channel 405. Firstly, Toli, before I respond directly to the question, the IFP welcomes the fact that the former state president, Mr. Jacob Zuma, eventually complied with the law of our country. And we are glad that at the end, the law demonstrated that it is supreme, irrespective of the position you hold or you held previously. It is true that within the ANC, not people who are not ANC, there is tension because of the factions, one supporting Zuma and the other believing that the law must take its course. That is why, as the IFP, we have made a call to all people of KwaZulu-Natal that South Africa is a country that has law and a judicial system. We have to comply with the constitution of the land, and the ANC members belonging to the ruling party, they must not make our country lawless. Anyone who is disgruntled about the decisions of the court has an opportunity to appeal the decision. We all know, Tony, we would not have come to where we are if the former president, Jacob Zuma, complied with the order of the Constitutional Court, because it is not that he committed a crime, but he made a disobedience of the Constitution, something which he had the opportunity to comply and raise the issues before the judiciary, which he is complaining about. The tension is not throughout KwaZulu-Natal and is not to all people of the ANC as I see it, but is within the group that believes there is unfairness done to Jacob Zuma, but the court of laws are there to verify whether that is true or not. As we know, there is a judgment awaited for tomorrow. There is a process to unfold on the 12th of July. That is the process which must be given an opportunity to reign so that our country does not become a lawless country.
Mr. Mashaba, let's come to you. Snugi Zigalala, I keep referring to him because he had such strong words, and you would imagine an ANC that is speaking in unison at a time like this. But I think for Dr. Snugi Zigalala, this is about more than anything else, a lesson for those who even intend disrespecting the law in the future. But his strong words went further to say this is just the tip of the iceberg. There is more to come. I'd like to ask you the question about what this is likely to do, this decision, this momentous decision, to those who have seen themselves as being above the law, the so-called untouchables. What do you think they're doing right now?
Well, I can tell you, Tolly, without any shadow of doubt, that almost the entire ANC, and I think we must be very careful as South Africans to think that there are two ANC, the good one and the bad one. There's only one ANC and there's only one bad ANC. There can be many factions, whether two or three or four, but at the end of the day, they're all ANC and they're all bad ANC. That has allowed Jacob Zuma since 2007. You can imagine the decision which they took, shook the world in 2007 in Polokwane when Jacob Zuma was facing over 700 cases of fraud, corruption. There wasn't any piece of legislation that he had not really broken. But ANC had the audacity to elect him as the president of the country. And majority of those people who elected him in parliament, they are today sitting in the same cabinet with President Cyril Ramaphosa. They are all today the people who are now chairpersons of committees in Parliament of the Republic of South Africa. So I believe very strongly that the ANC has to take the responsibility. We appeal to them to restore the rule of law. Let them release our law enforcement agencies, the prosecuting authority, the works and all agencies of state to ensure that all those who have stolen public money, deprive South Africans of the vaccination. Today, we are under lockdown. Our people are losing jobs on a daily basis. We've got COSATU that has destroyed businesses where we're sitting with over 43% of unemployment. So I think Dr. Zigalala and all these ones must take personal responsibility for the mess that Jacob Zuma created for us. Actually, Jacob Zuma was leading them. They are the ones who put Jacob Zuma to destroy this country. So for them to come back as if they are the messiahs or they feel guilty about it, I think they let them take the responsibility because they've been part of this mess that they've destroyed lives of millions of our people are today without jobs, without homes, under
Mr. Mashaba, Mr. Mashaba, yes. It would be remiss of me to not put you, though, on the spotlight as well as a former business person. You're a formidable business leader, and we all know that the corruption that takes place in the public sphere, or in the public sector, I should say, there are those who also influence or are participants from the private sector. Surely this also has to send a chilling effect to corrupt private business people.
Absolutely. I support this 200%. We are allowed 100% when you do meds. But in this particular case, I would give it another 100%, so I'm putting up to 200. Koli, if you operate in a country where your law enforcement agencies are independent of political interference, whether you belong to the private sector, whether you belong to government, or you are unemployed, if you commit crime, our law enforcement agencies must have the right to prosecute without any fear or favor. So for me, it's not about politicians, about business people. It's about the rule of law. And the rule of law has got to operate whether you're a billionaire or you're an unemployed South African. So for those captains of industry who participated in this corrupt activity, please, ANC, reinstate the Scorpions, give them more powers, make sure that the head of the Scorpions is an independent person, not appointed by the president, so that they operate without any fear or favor. Make sure that the Hawks the Scorpions is brought back. So you need the independence of our law enforcement agencies to ensure that there's a rule of law in the country. Unlike right now, where most of and majority of the people who are leaders of society in public and private sector are corrupt individuals, and where they belong is actually they must go and join Jacob Zuma. Let Jacob Zuma tell us who those people are so that he can have some company in jail.
All right. But Hlabisa, you get to have the last word. The President Emeritus of the IFP, Chief Mangosuthu Buthelezi, spoke early this week, and some of the words he used was that what occurred in Nkandla on Sunday was treasonous. These were his words. You hear today from our senior reporter who is in Nkandla that perhaps the party crouching this as the former president having handed himself over to law enforcement and not him having been placed under arrest is somehow a way to try and dignify this. In your view, who should speak right now? And I don't imagine anyone else but the president of the country to give direction, but to also give a sense of the rule of law having reigned supreme. What should the line of march be? And am I correct to point towards the president of the country, who has been silent for since the past 8 days?
You are very true, Toli. It has been very unfortunate, the silence by the president of the country. But there is no wonder the undecisiveness of the leadership of the ANC at critical times always show in many occasions. And we will not be even surprised, even now, if the president will remain as silent as he is not inside the country. Because this is always how they respond on issues. The matter of Jacob Zuma should have not been allowed to go this far. Yes, we know the process of the courts should have been observed, but there are many issues which are just getting out of hand in our country at the full view of the ANC as a ruling party. The people of South Africa should be making a good observation that we are like a country that is not led by an accountable leadership. It does not help the ANC to come up at the end as if they are a good party with good leadership, yet the revelations of the Zondo Commission are damning. We are learning a good lesson as a country, and the message is clear of what happened yesterday evening. No one is above the law. All the people implicated in the Zondo Commission, they must start preparing themselves to follow the same road and go to jail for the money they misappropriated at the expense of the poor people of our country. And this is a good lesson for future and young leaders that law is supreme. When you are given an opportunity, do not abuse it. soon the Zondo Commission must wind up its work and the recommendations must be implemented in its fullest. The assets forfeiture unit should be getting ready to start collecting everything that was accumulated out of the money that we have learned was embezzled through various projects, as we have heard from the Zondo Commission. And also, the criminal justice must be ready to start charging people, arrest them, prosecute them, and lock them to jail, so that every young and upcoming leader know that you must be careful when you are given an opportunity, use the resources for the best advantage of the people of South Africa.
President of the IFP, Velenkosini Hlabisa, speaking alongside the leader of newly formed political party Action SA, that's Herman Mashaba. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time.